Yeah, we are starting a completely new topic. This panel is very diverse. I'm a little bit nervous about moving into talking about literature after we just touched upon very important social issues, but I will try. And thank you for an opportunity to be here with you today. And I'm lucky to be speaking on the third day when I've already heard most of the colleagues speak before. And it's a great pleasure and it's very curious to say that many of the topics that were already brought up in your work or artwork also came up in this very preliminary study of new Ukrainian comics. Which could speak a little bit probably to the symptomatic of art and how it functions in society. And okay, I will try. So the things that I will be talking to you, sharing with you this morning can be placed on the time axis in between of those two periods. So the first picture represents the logo of Ukrainian magazine of political satire, which was published in between 1927 and 2013. Was closed due to small readership and circulation problems. And then 2 years after that, the Kyiv Comic Con was established as a very successful event. In the first year, the organizers said that they brought in audience of 100,000 people. They sold 100,000 tickets. And then in 2016, it was also quite successful, and so they expected to be annual. And well, actually, why I put them on the same slide, because we are speaking about popular culture and about the same form, right? The books that operate with images and text. In 1990s, there started to appear translated comics. Many of Ukrainian artists were working with European comics, American comics, of course, and manga. They were translating it and trying to publish it, but it was not a very big amount of these books that you would find. And the last 3 years have been like a boom in Ukrainian comics production, but that I'm gonna talk to you a little bit later. What it all started with was the comics of Igor Baranько, who created these characters in the 90s. And one of the first characters, really indigenously Ukrainian character was Mamai the Cossack, who was the very popular hero of folk legends and folk art in the 17th century, and who was connected with some very weird mysticism and everything, and who was a charakternik. Yes, for those maybe less familiar, he was a Cossack who also mastered some other outer knowledge. Yes, they were said to have some superpowers, to master bilocation, right? To be able to heal and read the minds and things like this. So Mamai the Cossack was the first protagonist of Ukrainian comics, and Igor Baranько moved on with Mamai and characters like Mamai. And in 2008, he created a graphic novel which is titled Maxim Osa, yes, Maxim the Wasp, and he's also a charakternik. And now Maxim Osa is awaits to become a movie, but it's not. It's in the production, but we don't have it yet. They told it's going to be the end of 2016, but probably will be 2017. And later, now in the last 3 years, we have comics of a lot of different topics, not just the charakterniki, which I'm going to come back later a little bit, but also the fighters with corruption here. This is Chroniki Aptauna is a comics which is designed to raise awareness in political corruption. Then we have a lot of comics for children speaking about Ukrainian heroes. Like here you have Ukrainsky superheroi. Then some of the comics that deal with Ukrainian history, a lot of them. and also the intellectual comics, which I'm gonna come in the end of this presentation. And yes, and speaking about charakterniki, here on the slide I collected most, I'm tempted to say all of them, that appeared in the last, say, 5 years. And actually the books that why actually they brought me into this topic were this trilogy, which is called Hapag. It's 3 graphic novels created by a collaboration of Kyiv artists, really great graphics. It appeared, the first one, it appeared in 2012, then 14 and 16. And it is about Cossacks. See, we have here a lot of them, and while looking at the comics and at the topics and how it's being presented, I was really surprised by finding the same mythologies, which, for example, Serhiy Plokhy speaks in his book about Cossacks mythologies. Okay, let's move into the first slide about these modern Cossacks. The first thing that drew my attention in Hapag is the very seamless and very unproblematic usage of this Oriental mysticism and also the topic of Hapag. Actually, you don't see anyone dance in that comics, but Hapag sort of start to represent this this masculinity, and it's basically used in the way that Hapag became a martial art, right? In the early 90s, it was a project by one activist in Lviv, actually, who created the schools of combat Hapag, and now Hapag is also doesn't represent only dance, but also speaks about this martial art, and in these comics, these artists actually use it in that sense. That was very surprising, because for me this usage was quite problematic in the beginning. And also here we have the first point which Serhiy Plokhy speaks in his book is the Cossack mythology. Which relates them to the princes of the Kievan Rus, is the point that they are fighting the menace from the south, right? They are fighting the Busurmani, they are fighting the Osmani, right? The Ottoman Empire, and you can find that not only in Hapag but also in the latter comics, Atoll-themed comics, which are also a lot of them just appeared, speaking about the heroes of anti-terrorist operation. They also involve speak about some Cossacks and who are fighting this menace from the south, this Busurmane. The second thing that these contemporary Cossacks are doing, they are also proving to be part of the nobility, which is also very following Serhiy Plokhy's this theme, right? In the second book of the Hapag, the main protagonist is confronting this member of the Polish nobility, and he wins him over not only by the way he mastered the martial art, but also by the art of his conduct and everything else. So and then they are forced to work together, and they go to Kyiv Mohila Academy and have to cooperate there. So Cossacks also prove to be equal to the noble class, to be equal to them. And I was trying to speak about these contemporary Cossacks in relation to another Cossack depicting tradition, which sends us back to the illustrations to Kotlяревsky's Aeneida, made in late 60s by Basilevich, because I found a lot of similarities in the Cossack figure, well, in the imagery of these Cossack figures. A lot of the imagery, of course, comes from the from American comics, but some themes, they are also sending us back to this tradition of Ukrainian illustration tradition, and Basilevich. And also the genre of these books are slightly or maybe to a great extent, I don't know how to deal with this at this point. They are related to what Kotlяревsky has done with Aeneida. In many senses, I will probably speak about this later. And there are some more themes that Cossacks are involved in. They are flying in space, right? They are interacting with some extraterrestrial creatures, and they are writing a letter to Darth Vader. They are very grounded in contemporary globalized visual culture, right, and popular culture, as we see here. And these, by the way, these are for children. These are comics for children about Cossacks. And then also another topic which is interesting and important is rewriting or redefining of history. And this is one of the important projects which has not came out yet as a book. We only have a promise of it. They only have the set of characters and the trailer. And this is the Will Vola project, which will speak about, it will be like a steampunk fantasy and speaking about the alternative history. What if the Ukrainian People's Republic in 1917, 1920 didn't vanish and would have held its positions and redefined the world history, let's say. And I think it will be a very interesting project, and what we see here, it will be really a steampunk fantasy. It will speak a lot about technology and probably cyborgs and everything like this. So we had history in Hapag, speaking about siege and everything like this. We have history here. And another comic which also deals, maybe in Q&A, deals with history is Involuntary Hero. It's comic based on Ivan Franko's novel, Heroi po nevoli. And it speaks about the time of the Spring of Nations and the revolutions that took place in Europe, and also the events in Lviv. And the main protagonist of this comic is a very hesitant white-collar worker, a Ukrainian in Lviv, very loyal to Austrian Empire, but forced by the historical circumstances to take action and to somehow pronounce and define his identity. And this is what I found also interesting, because it is like I saw it as another side of these muscular guys, which stand for many things with arms and martial arts. And here you have this skinny guy that has worked in the bureau in Cancellaria in Lemberg for 20 years, and he has to pronounce and to understand that he's a Ukrainian and to start to act as a Ukrainian as well. So this is basically, I just told you the main points, the main, I just named the main books that I was working with, and so maybe we get a chance to speak more during the questions about this. I'm saying thank you.